Welcome to Two Witness Teaching Program. Two Witness, a Bible teaching program to change and transform people. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Let's dive into it.
It came to pass at the end of 2 full years, so 2 years from when the butler and the baker are remembered by Pharaoh. So just for some perspective, Joseph at age 17 was taken by his brothers and sold into slavery in Egypt. And after this 2 years, that would make 13 years combined in Potiphar's house and in prison. So he's 30 years old here. Verse 1, Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine, or cows, and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke. So you have a picture of skinny cows eating big cows. Verse 5, he slept and dreamed the second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up on one stalk, rank and good. And rank to me does not sound like a pleasant description, but that actually means they're fatted, they're plump, very good fat ears. And it's not corn like we think of maize, it's actually referring to wheat. And behold, 7 thin ears, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. It came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all of the magicians of Egypt and all of the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. I think it's interesting back in verse 40, verse 8, what does Joseph say? Do not interpretations belong to God? So it's no wonder that the magicians and the wise men of this world could not interpret his dream. Mm-hmm. God is the interpreter of dreams. Amen. Verse 9, then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. I remember my own crime that got me into this prison situation, and I remember this man. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. We dreamed a dream in one night, I and he. We dreamed, each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was there with us a young man, a Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. Each man according to his dream did he interpret. And it came to pass as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And he shaved himself and changed his raiment, and came in unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee, that thou can understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. He'll give you the true interpretation of your dream. Pharaoh said to Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river. And I'd like to read this because a few different or additional details come out. Behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored and lean-fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. And the lean and the ill-favored kine did eat up the first 7 fat kine, and when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill-favored as at the beginning. So I awoke. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, The dream of Pharaoh is one. God hath showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good kine are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kine that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine or hunger. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. I think that's very powerful, that God would show his plan of what he is about to do for the next 14 years to an ungodly ruler who doesn't fear him. Why would God do this? Well, it can only be for the sake of Joseph, and because God can use this situation, these 14 years coming up, to bring Joseph into a position of authority so that God can fulfill the promises, the prophecies that he has made about the nation of Israel, about how he'll preserve them, about how they'll sojourn in a foreign land. Is that the best way? I'm sure it's not God's intention that Joseph would have been sold into slavery or thrown into the prison, or that anyone should have to go through famine at all. But God is going to use the circumstances at hand to bring about his good. Verse 29, this is what God's about to do. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. So God confirms it by giving him 2 witnesses. Verse 33, the story turns here. The interpretation is over. The purpose for which Joseph was brought before Pharaoh has been fulfilled. But Joseph goes on. He begins to counsel Pharaoh, good, godly counsel about what Pharaoh should do to prepare for this. This is very bold to, I believe, to stand before the ruler of the land and counsel him without his asking. Mm-hmm. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, Can we find such a one as this? Is a man in whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Forasmuch as God hath showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. So we see Joseph was a faithful servant in Potiphar's house. He was a faithful servant in the prison. And now God has given him so much. He's going to give him the authority over the entire kingdom of Egypt. Verse 40, Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, See, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand, and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the 2nd chariot which he had. And they cried before him, Bow the knee. And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. So probably within an hour, he went from prisoner to riding in a chariot with gold chains and people bowing to him. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And in verse 45, Joseph is given an Egyptian name, which means the man to whom secrets are revealed. He's given a wife, Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, a priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Pharaoh went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all the land of Egypt. Are we together?
Yes.
Okay. 47, and in the 7 plenteous years the earth brought forth by handfuls, and he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities. The food of the field which was round about every city laid he up the same. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much until he left numbering, for it was without number. And unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for God said, He hath made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. So Manasseh means forgetting. And the name of the second called he Ephraim, for God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. Now, this will come up many more times in the New Testament. We won't discuss it now, but when we see Israel come out of Egypt and they go into the promised land and they're conquering and dividing up the land, Joseph is not listed as one of the tribes of Israel, though he was one of the sons of Jacob. But in his place, we see that his sons, both Ephraim and Manasseh, were called a tribe of Israel, and they were given an inheritance of land. But there'll be more on that later. 53, the 7 years of plenteous that was in the land of Egypt were ended, and the 7 years of dearth began to come, according as Joseph had said. And the dearth was in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, and people cried to Pharaoh for bread, Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, Go unto Joseph, what he saith to you, do. And the famine was over all the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in all the land. And all countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all the lands. So Joseph was doing this not just to preserve the nation of Egypt, not just to preserve his own family who will come for corn, but he's going to make Pharaoh very, very wealthy. And we'll see that in the next 2 chapters exactly what this corn will sell for.
Chapter 42. Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, Why do ye look one upon another? Or what are you guys doing here just sitting staring at each other? Okay. And he said, Behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob sent not with his brethren, for he said, Lest peradventure mischief befall him. So we see Jacob has a soft spot for Benjamin already. And I don't want him to go with you. He's the last child I have with Rachel, and I want to keep him back here. I don't want to risk Benjamin. I have a special affection for Benjamin. Verse 5, And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Joseph was the governor over the land, and he it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth. Fulfillment of Joseph's dream. Number 1, we're going to see this happen at least 4 times. And that's a fulfillment of Joseph's dream in chapter 37, verses 7 and 9. They bow down to him, not knowing who he was. Verse 7, Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them. He understood who they were. I recognize them. But made himself strange unto them. He concealed himself to them. And that would probably be pretty easy to do. He probably didn't look like them, as he was now much like the Egyptians. And also would probably be able, we're going to find out that he spoke Egyptian. So he's speaking through an interpreter. So Joseph is concealing who he is, but he knows who his brothers are. And he spake roughly unto them, and he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them. Joseph himself remembers, It has happened just like God told me. Here you are, you're bowing down to me. And he said unto them, You are spies. You've come to see the nakedness of the land, or the weaknesses of the land. You're plotting against us. You're spying us out. And they said unto him, Nay, my lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. We are all one man's sons. We are true men. We're open and honest. We're not deceivers. Thy servants are no spies. And he said unto them, Nay, but you come to see the nakedness of the land, ye are come. And they said, Thy servants are 12 brethren, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is not. And Joseph said unto them, That is it that I spake unto you, saying, Ye are spies. I don't believe you. Verse 15, Hereby ye shall be proved. By the life of Pharaoh ye shall not go forth hence, except your youngest brother come hither. So send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in my prison, that your words may be proved whether there be any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies. This is the first offer that Joseph gives to them. Send one back and bring your brother down, and that will prove that your story is true. Verse 17, And he put them all into the ward 3 days. And Joseph said unto them the third day, he's changing his bargain, This do and live, for I fear God. If ye be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. And go ye carry corn for the famine of your houses, but bring your youngest brother unto me, so shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. So instead of keeping them all and sending one back, he says, I'll keep one, and you can all go back with the food. Verse 21, now their conscience is really hitting them. Like, what in the world have we done in our past to deserve this? And they said one unto another, We are very guilty concerning our brother Joseph, and that we saw the anguish of his soul, when he besought us, we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, Spake I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child? And you would not hear. Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. Or for this reason, we're having this difficulty. God is not mocked. We're getting justice for what we've done to Joseph. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake by an interpreter. Joseph's hearing this. Says, oh, man. They're recognizing what they did wrong to me, and they're just torn up about it. Verse 24, And he turned himself about from them and wept, and returned to them again, and communed with them, and took from them Simeon, and bound him before their eyes. So he's going to keep the second oldest. Reuben was the oldest. He keeps Simeon. Verse 25, Then Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with corn and restore every man's money into his sack, and to give them provision for the way. And thus did he unto them. He's not only giving them the corn, but he's putting all the money that they brought to pay for the corn back in their sacks to go away with. And they laded their asses with the corn and departed thence. And as one of them opened his sack to give his ass provender or food at the inn, he espied his money, for behold, it was in his sack's mouth. And he said unto his brethren, My money is restored, and lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed within them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, What is this that God hath done to us? Instead of being happy, they go, Oh my word, this guy was mad at us. He wants us to verify our story. We left, and we even took the money that we were supposed to pay to him. What is going on? What hath God done to us? What is this judgment? How are we ever going to get out of this? And they came unto Jacob their father unto the land of Canaan, and told him all that befell unto them, saying, The man who is the Lord of the land spake roughly to us, and he took us for spies of the country. And we said unto him, We are true men, we are no spies. We be 12 brethren, sons of our father. One is not, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. And the man, the Lord of the country, said unto us, Hereby shall I know that you are true men. Leave one of your brethren here with me, and take food for the famine of your households, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother unto me. Then shall I know that ye are no spies, but that ye are true men. So will I deliver you, your brother, and ye shall traffic or have commerce and trade in the land. Then I'll believe you, and you can go to and fro from Egypt without any harassment. 35, And it came to pass as they emptied their sacks that, behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. Somehow we're being set up. Verse 36, And Jacob their father said unto them, Me have you bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and now Simeon is not, and you will now take Benjamin away? All these things are against me. And Reuben spake unto his father, saying, Slay my 2 sons, if I bring him not to thee. If I don't return with Benjamin, slay my 2 sons. Deliver him, Benjamin, into my hand, and I will bring him to thee again. And he said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead. I've already lost Joseph, and he is left alone. If mischief befall him by the way in the which ye go, then shall ye bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave, or I'll die of sorrow if something happens to Benjamin. I won't let you take him.
Keep in mind here that Benjamin is a grown man. He's married and he has children. He's not a little child that the father is afraid, to have him taken out of his sight. He's a man. So I used to always just picture Benjamin as this little boy being led by the hand, but it's really not the case. All right, we'll do chapter 43 here and take a break. I really appreciate you bearing with us as we read this, because it's really powerful to read the word through like this and see what the Lord is showing us. And we won't do this through the entire Old Testament, or that would take years. But here, as we lay down the groundwork for the building of the nation of Israel, it's important that we see how God is working with them and how it's all playing out. And I know it's thrilling for us to read through it again, too. Chapter 43, the famine was sore, or very severe in the land. It came to pass, when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt, their fathers said unto them, Go again, buy us a little food. And Judah spake unto him, saying, The man did solemnly protest unto us, saying, Ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and buy thee food. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, Ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. And Israel said, Wherefore dealt ye so ill with me, as to tell the man whether you had a brother? And they said, The man asked us straitly of our state and of our kindred, saying, Is your father yet alive? Have you another brother? And we told him according to the tenor of these words. Could we certainly know that he would say, Bring your brother down? And Judah said unto Israel his father, Send the lad with me. We will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and thou, and also our little ones. So he calls him a lad, which I find interesting, because we're going to see when they go, it speaks of his wife and children, of Benjamin's wife and children. Judah says, verse 9, I will be surety for him. Of my hand shalt thou require him. If I bring him not unto thee and set him before thee, then let me bear the blame forever. For except we had lingered, surely now we had returned the second time. And their father Israel said unto them, If it must be so now, do this. Take the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. And take double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks. Carry it again in your hand. Perhaps it was an oversight. Take also your brother, and arise, and go again unto the man. And God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may send away your other brother and Benjamin. If I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. And the man took that present, and they took double money in their hand and Benjamin, and rose up, and went down to Egypt, and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, Bring these men home, and slay and make ready. For these men shall dine with me at noon. And the man did as Joseph bade, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house. And the men were afraid, because they were brought into Joseph's house. And they said, Because of the money that was returned in our sacks at the first time are we brought in, that he may seek occasion against us, and fall upon us, and take us for bondmen and our asses. And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house, and said, O sir, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food. And it came to pass when we came to the inn, that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight, and we have brought it again in our hand. And other money have we brought down in our hands to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. Verse 23, a very interesting response given by the steward. Peace be to you, fear not. Your God and the God of your father have given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money. He says, I received my payment. I was paid in full. God must have put money in your bags. And he brought Simeon out unto them. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house, gave them water, they washed their feet, and he gave their asses provender. And they made ready the present against Joseph, who was coming at noon, for they heard that they should eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand to the house, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. So here's the second fulfillment of that dream. They bowed down to him. And he asked them of their welfare, and said, Is your father well? The old man of whom you spake, is he yet alive? And they answered, Thy servant, our father, is in good health. He is yet alive. And they bowed down their heads third time and made obeisance. They prostrated themselves before him.
Amen.
And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's youngest son, and said, Is this your younger brother, of whom you spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother. He had compassion. He sought where to weep, and he entered into his chamber and wept there. And keep in mind, he's still speaking through an interpreter here. He has not revealed anything to him about being a Hebrew. 31, he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, Set on bread. And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews. That is an abomination unto the Egyptian. So he was still very much playing the part of an Egyptian, and he was eating separately from them. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth, and the men marveled one at another. So he had seated them in the order that he chose, and they happened to notice that they were seated exactly according to their birthright.
A little unnerving.
A little unnerving. 34, and he took and sent messes unto them from before him. These are presents. But Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him. So Joseph is setting it up here for the revelation of who he is to his brethren.
Mm-hmm. We're in chapter 44, continuing the story of Joseph. Joseph has met his brothers for the second time. They've shared in a meal now. And chapter 44, verse 1, he commanded the steward of his house, saying, "Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth." The same thing he told them before. "And put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest and his corn money." And he did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their asses. And when they were gone out of the city, and not yet far off, Joseph said unto his steward, "Up, follow after the men, and when thou dost overtake them, say unto them, Wherefore have ye rewarded evil for good? Is not this it in which my Lord drinketh, and whereby indeed he divineth? Ye have done evil in so doing," or taking the cup. And so he, the steward, overtook them, and he spake unto them these same words. And they said unto him, "Wherefore saith my Lord these words? God forbid that thy servant should do according to this thing. Behold, the money which we found in our sacks' mouths, we brought again unto thee out of the land of Canaan. How then should we steal out of thy Lord's house silver or gold? With whomsoever of thy servants it be found, both let him die, and we also will be my Lord's bondmen." That's how certain they are. We wouldn't do such a thing. Verse 10, and he said, "Now also let it be according unto your words, but with this caveat to it. He with whom it is found shall be my servant, and the rest will be blameless." Then they speedily took down every man his sack to the ground, and opened every man his sack. And he searched, and began at the eldest, and left at the youngest. And the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And they rent their clothes, they tore their clothes, and they laded every man his ass, and returned to the city. Oh no, not Benjamin. Verse 14, and Judah and his brethren came to Joseph's house, and he was yet there, and they fell before him on the ground. Here's another. And Joseph said unto them, "What deed is this that thou have done? Wot ye not that such a man as I can certainly divine, or don't you think I could perceive this?" And Judah said, "What shall we say unto my Lord? What shall we speak? Or how shall we clear ourselves? God hath found out the iniquity of thy servants. Behold, we are my Lord's servants, both we, and he also with whom the cup is found." Judah is really concerned. He's the one that said, "I'll take full responsibility and blame." Reuben first said it, but he was denied the opportunity to take Benjamin. Judah said it to his father, and so now Judah is on the line with Dad. Verse 17, and he said, "God forbid that I should do so, but the man in whose hand the cup is found, he shall be my servant. And as for you, get you up in peace unto your father." And Judah came near unto him, to Joseph, and said, "O my Lord, let thy servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Lord's ears, and let not thine anger burn against thy servant. For thou art even as Pharaoh." I know when I talk to you, it's like talking to Pharaoh. Don't be mad at me. Please let me say this one thing. "My Lord has asked his servant, saying, Have ye a father or a brother? And we said unto my Lord, We have a father, an old man, and a child of his old age, a little one. And his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother, and his father loveth him. And thou saidst unto thy servants, Bring him down unto me, that I may set my eyes upon him. And we said unto my Lord, The lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die. And thou saidst unto thy servants, Except your brother come down with you, ye shall see my face no more. And it came to pass, when we came up unto thy servant my father, we told him the words of my Lord. And our father said, Go again, and buy us a little food. And we said, we cannot go down if our youngest brother be with us, then we will go down. For we may not see the man's face, except our youngest brother be with us. And thy servant, my father, said unto us, Ye know that my wife bare me 2 sons. This is Rachel. And the one went out from me, and I said, Surely he is torn in pieces, and I saw him not since. And if ye take this also from me, Benjamin, and mischief befall him, ye shall bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. Now therefore, when I come to thy servant my father, and the lad be not with us, seeing that his life is bound up in the lad's life, it shall come to pass, when he seeth that the lad is not with us, that he will die. And thy servants shall bring down the gray hairs of thy servant our father with sorrow to the grave. For thy servant became surety for the lad unto my father, saying, If I bring him not unto thee, then I shall bear the blame to my father forever. Judah saying, I'm the one that made the promise that we will come back. I'm going to bear the blame forever if I go back without him. Now therefore I pray thee, let thy servant abide instead of the lad, a bondman to my Lord, and let the lad go up with his brethren. For how shall I go up to my father, and the lad be not with me? Lest peradventure I shall see the evil that shall come on my father. Now, Judah's terribly concerned. He made the promise. He's got to bring Benjamin back. Judah is ready. Now, look at this difference. When they sold Joseph into slavery, now they care so much about their father and about Benjamin that he's willing to trade himself for Benjamin. Now, that's something I think that shows a change of heart, because they went through a charade with their father for years, pretending that Joseph was dead. And they saw the suffering of their father, so I can't bear to see this again. I can't do this to Jacob again. I would trade myself and let Benjamin go back. This is, I think, a good sign that Judah is willing to make this bargain.
Chapter 45. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, Cause every man to go out from me. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. Imagine that. And Joseph said unto his brethren, Come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. And he said, I am Joseph your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that ye sold me hither. For God did send me before you to preserve life. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years, in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, or a surviving portion, a remainder of your family, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God, and hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Now, could God have accomplished that apart from the sin of the brothers? Sure, he could have, but he accomplished it in spite of the sin of his brothers.
Amen.
Haste ye, verse 9, and go up to my father, and say unto him, Thus saith thy son Joseph, God hath made me lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not. And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, and thy children's children, and thy flocks, and thy herds, and all that thou hast. And there will I nourish thee, for there are yet 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household and all that thou hast come to poverty. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. And ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that ye have seen, and ye shall haste and bring down my father hither. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. And moreover he kissed all his brethren, and wept upon them. And after that, his brethren talked with him. I like that when Joseph reveals who he is, the next question is, how's my father? Go to my father, bring my father. And he is very concerned about his father. I think that's tremendous. And after he explains everything that had happened, what's about to happen, bring your family, I'll nourish you all, then they seemed a little bit more relieved of their fears, and they talk with him. Verse 16, the fame thereof was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brethren are come. And it pleased Pharaoh well and his servants. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, say unto thy brethren, this do ye, lade your beasts, and go, and get you unto the land of Canaan. So this is Pharaoh speaking. Take your father and your households, and come unto me, and I will give you the good of the land of Egypt, and ye shall eat the fat of the land. Now thou art commanded, this do ye, take you wagons out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and your wives, and bring your father, and come. Also regard not your stuff, your belongings, for the good of all the land of Egypt is yours. And the children of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons according to the commandment of Pharaoh, and gave them provision for the way. To all of them he gave each man changes of raiment, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of raiment. And to his father he sent after this manner 10 asses laden with the good things of Egypt, 10 she-asses laden with corn and bread, and meat for his father by the way. So he sent his brethren away, and they departed. And these are his parting words. He said unto them, see that ye fall not out by the way. Speaking of their own interaction with each other, don't fight amongst yourselves. Don't fall out with each other. Just go get my father and return. And they went up out of Egypt, and came to the land of Canaan unto Jacob their father, and told them, saying, Joseph is yet alive, and he is governor over all the land of Egypt. And Jacob's heart fainted, for he believed them not. And they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said unto them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father revived. And Israel said, it is enough. Joseph my son is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die.
Wonderful. I love this image of the brothers coming back and bringing all the parade of gifts and things, and Jacob says, I can't believe what you're saying. And then here comes the next ass with something on it. Here comes the next one. Here comes on. Wow, this must be true. Joseph is ruling in Egypt. I believe it. Chapter 46. And Israel took his journey with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices unto the God of his father Isaac. And God spake unto Israel in the visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. Now this is the third time that we see God speaking to Jacob in the night, a vision of the night, or an angel. The first one was when he went to Laban. The second time was when he was turning back from Laban and meeting with Esau. And this time when God's leading him to go to Egypt, saying, don't fear, Jacob. This is part of my plan. I'm going to take you down there and make a great nation out of you, which was promised to Abraham in Genesis 15, 13, and 14. Verse 4, I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again. And Joseph shall put his hand upon thine eyes, or he'll be the one to close your eyes at death. And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob their father, and their little ones and their wives, in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took their cattle and their goods, so they didn't do as Pharaoh suggested, and just come. Anything you want is yours. They did take their things. And they had gotten into the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt, Jacob and his seed with him, and his sons and his sons' sons, and with him his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed brought he with him into Egypt. And now we go through a list of the sons of Jacob, and also their sons that went into Egypt. And I don't think I'm going to mention too much about that. I know Wendy has a comment.
In chapter 21, it says the sons of Benjamin were, and it lists all of his sons. So he wasn't the lad that we might picture him to be.
Okay. If we skip down to verse 27, we see the sons of Joseph, which were born him in Egypt, were 2 souls, and all the souls of the house of Jacob, which came into Egypt, were 70. That gives us the whole number of 70. And he, Jacob, sent Judah before him unto Joseph to direct or to lead Jacob unto Goshen. So Judah was leading the convoy. And they came into the land of Goshen. And Joseph made ready his chariot, and went up to meet Israel his father to Goshen, and presented himself unto him, and fell on his neck, and wept on his neck a good while. And Israel said unto Joseph, Now let me die, since I have seen thy face, and because thou art yet alive. And Joseph said unto his brethren and unto his father's house, I will go up and show Pharaoh, and say unto him, My brethren and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan, are come unto me. And the men are shepherds, for their trade hath been to feed cattle. And they have brought their flocks and their herds, and all that they have. And it shall come to pass, when Pharaoh shall call you, and shall say, What is your occupation? That ye shall say, Thy servant's trade hath been about cattle from our youth even until now, both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen. Tell them your occupation, so that he will say, Stay in Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians. Or that's something that they wanted to keep out of their society, out from the cities. Like, okay, you guys can stay in Goshen. We understand. You're shepherds, you raise sheep, you raise cattle. And I believe that Joseph knew that by telling Pharaoh that they were shepherds, a keeper of sheep and cattle, that Pharaoh would want them to keep their distance, and they could settle in Goshen, away from the heart of the Egyptian people and from the Egyptian culture. So Israel is going to have this little pocket where they'll be to themselves, and they will have this chance to incubate and become the nation that God wants them to be. They're not going to be intermingled in the city. They're out in the countryside, out in Goshen, taking care of their flocks and growing into a great nation.
Yeah, the Egyptian culture was full of idolatry. They had hundreds of gods that they worshipped. Pharaoh himself claimed to be a god. And so, as Brian said, this was a way for him to protect them from the ungodly society that they were moving into. Chapter 47, Joseph came and told Pharaoh and said, My father and my brethren and their flocks and their herds and all that they have are come out of the land of Canaan. And behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And I did some research on this. It was about 150 miles from where they were in Canaan to where they came into Egypt. Because I was thinking, how could the brothers have just been going back and forth? You know, it did mention stopping at an inn, but really how far was it? And it was about 150 miles, so not too far to have to walk on foot. So they've arrived, they're here. Verse 2, he took some of his brethren, even 5 men, and presented them unto Pharaoh. So he's already taken them all to Goshen. He brought just 5 to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto his brethren, What is your occupation? And they said unto Pharaoh, Thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. They said moreover unto Pharaoh, For to sojourn in the land are we come. For thy servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore, we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, saying, Thy father and thy brethren are come unto thee. The land of Egypt is before thee. In the best of the land make thy father and brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen let them dwell. And not only that, Joseph, if thou knowest any men of activity among them, make them rulers over my cattle. So if you have any capable, industrious, able men in your family, put them over my cattle as well. And Joseph brought in Jacob his father and set him before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Jacob, How old art thou? And Jacob says unto Pharaoh, here's a little woe is me, the days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained unto the days of the years of the life of my fathers, and the days of their pilgrimage. So he's saying, I've had a short, sad, hard life, and my life isn't even as long as my forefathers were. He was 130 here, but Abraham had lived to 175, and Isaac had lived to 180, so compared to that, he was young, but he's saying, I've had a hard life. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, and the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had commanded. So it shows that Ramses was the Pharaoh or the ruling dynasty at this time. Verse 12, Joseph nourished his father and his brethren and all his father's household with bread according to their families. Now we start a passage about the famine and how it is that Joseph's plan from the beginning played out. Remember, for the first 7 years, he took a fifth part, or 20% of everyone's crops, and he stored them up in the cities against the 7 years of famine that were coming. Verse 13, there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all of the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. So he took money for the corn. Verse 15, when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came into Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. The money's all disappeared. Where is it? Well, it's in Pharaoh's house. So they've already traded all of their money for food. So 16, we see the second thing that gets traded. Joseph said, Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fail. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph. And Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses and for the flocks and for the cattle of the herds and for the asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. So now what does Pharaoh have? He has the money, their horses, their flocks, and all their herds of the land of Egypt and Canaan. 18, when that year was ended, they came to him the second year and said to him, We will not hide it from my lord, how that our money is spent. My lord also has our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my lord but our bodies and our lands. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh. And give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. So he has their money, he has their possessions, he has their land, and now he owns all the people as servants. Verse 20, Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them. So the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them to cities, from one end of the borders of Egypt, even to the other end. Remember, the food was stored in the cities. Only the land of the priests bought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them, wherefore they sold not their land. And Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. So now they're working Pharaoh's land to provide more crops for Pharaoh. And it shall come to pass in the increase that ye shall give a fifth part unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, for seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food of your little ones. So a fifth part for Pharaoh, the rest for them. And they said, Thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt unto this day, that Pharaoh should have the fifth part, except the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions therein. They grew and multiplied exceedingly. So look at the comparison here. The Egyptians just gave up their money, their flocks, their herds, their horses, their asses, their land, and themselves to be servants. But Israel, who's also dwelling in Egypt, grew and multiplied and got possessions. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, so the whole age of Jacob was 147 years. And the time drew nigh that Israel must die, and he called his son Joseph and said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I pray thee, in Egypt, but I will lie with my fathers, and thou shalt carry me out of Egypt, and bury me in their burying place. And he said, I will do as thou hast said. And he said, Swear unto me. And he sware unto him. And Israel bowed himself upon the bed's head.